What is up, you guys? What is up? What is up? I have been trying to get on here to talk to you guys for a little minute. Had some technical difficulties, but you know what? We're just going to go on ahead and rock out with it. Here we are. If you guys are joining me for the first time, welcome here to my channel, Just Simply Sports. I'm Kaja. If you've been here, you've been rocking out with me. Some of you guys are familiar with the chat, so I look forward, hoping you guys come in and join me really soon. This is very impromptu. It wasn't planned, so I'm gonna just get right into it because Indiana Fever, they almost lost to the Connecticut Sun. Yes, I know that Connecticut Sun. The Connecticut Sun that is at the bottom of the standings, the bottom, they have won the least amount of games this season in WNBA. But in spite of their awful record, they really have made quite the turnaround since they made some changes to their roster. But Indiana has been dealing with a lot of injuries this season, most notably Caitlin Clark, obviously. And then, of course, Erin McDonald, who they brought in for Caitlin Clark, a little substitution until, she got her groin, her groin healed. Then she broke her foot. Sydney Colson is one of the vets they brought in this season, along with Natasha Howard. Dewana Bonner, she was there, but she left. We all know this by now. Then Sydney Colson, I believe she tore her ACL in a game a few games ago. The same game Erin McDonald broke her foot. It's just been a lot going on. And then yesterday, Sophie Cunningham, Bria Hartley, she's hurt her right knee. She did have an MRI today, but I haven't seen any actual updates as opposed to like what those results were. So obviously hoping for the best because they can't take many more injuries. I mean, they've already signed 5 new players, and I guess what's the 6, right? But when you have the playoffs right around the corner, you want to make sure that you have a healthy squad, as healthy as possible, because as the season wanes on, injuries happen, people get injured, and you really clinging on your body's like clinging on, trying to get through and contend for that championship. But Kelsey Mitchell, I have to shout her out because she's been catching so much flack as of lately. She's kind of been very up and down, up and down. And yesterday, specifically in that second half, she said, "You know what? I have to show up for this team. I have to show up. I got to will them to victory. I got to spark something within us because we cannot lose to the Connecticut Sun. It just simply cannot happen." She came up big in that second half, which is why I have it right here. Monster performance it was. I believe she had 5 threes, 38 points. She was almost at 40 points. It was really an incredible game for her. So much so I saw that AZ Fudd, Paige Beckers, I believe that's her girlfriend, or if not her girlfriend, they are very, very close friends. Her dad had posted something and it kind of had fans in a frenzy. He put, "It is absolutely amazing at what Kelsey Mitchell is doing for the Fever. I've said it for the last 2 seasons, but people have chosen to overlook her prolific scoring ability as if it is not top notch." Now, a lot of people felt like he was taking jabs at Caitlin. He didn't mention anything about Caitlin at all, you guys, in this tweet. He was honestly just highlighting Kelsey Mitchell. Like, he didn't take any dig. He just talking about how nobody really paid any attention to her. And because they were a losing team, people don't really pay attention to when teams are losing, right? Unless you're like a diehard fan of a team, or, you're a fan of basketball, football, whatever it is, you kind of watch all the games. Most people don't watch, you know what I mean? So he shouted her out. Everybody's like, "Why is it all these jabs at CC, all these different things?" And I keep hearing, well, before Cece got there, she wasn't this, she wasn't that. Kelsey Mitchell has been consistent in terms of her scoring. Now, the team is not the same team that it was, the past. No, in the past. Let's just be very, very clear. They have a lot more talent. Coaching is different. Organization is different. Fan base is different. Obviously, large part to Caitlin Clark, but the team specifically, it is very different than what it was in the past. That also makes a difference as well. It's not as if Kelsey's out there winning on her own. Caitlin Clark is out there playing and winning on her own. Like, this is very much a team effort, you guys. So don't feel like this is a bashing session, so to speak, because I'm not bashing anybody. But I thought it was interesting that her dad took the time to say this, because then obviously, Caitlin Clark, and they had like the whole, not really a rivalry, excuse me, with Paige Beckers. Because Paige was hurt a lot in college, so she didn't really get a chance to really compete the way she wanted to, although she did win in the end with UConn last season. But in terms of her and Caitlin Clark really us really getting to see what that battle would have looked like in college, we didn't get a chance to see it because obviously she was hurt, so that just didn't happen. But you guys, I had to go back and do some research on Kelsey Mitchell, because I'm like, why is everybody like ragging on Kelsey Mitchell? Like, She has been one of those ones for a while. So I'm gonna go back for those of you who don't know. Like I'm gonna back to 2020. She was averaging 17.9 points in 2020, 44.8 shooting percentage. Right, this is 2020 prior to Caitlin Clark, and then I'm with 2021. 31.4 minutes, 35 games, 17.8 points. Again, so she's it's 2 years now. She's around the same margin, 17.9, 17.8, 3.3 assists, but her shooting percentage went up. So the previous season in 2020, she was at 44.8, and then the next season, 2021, she was at 52.6. That is very, very efficient, you guys. Again, this is pre Caitlin Clark. 2022, she went up 18.4 points, 4.2 assists, 32.6 minutes. So again, you guys, like she's been consistent across the board with in terms of her scoring and her efficiency. Her shooting percentage is not too far off, each season. 2023, 18.3. So she went down just a little smidge, 3.3 assists, 52.6 shooting percentage. Again, 2024, last season, as we all know, she went up 1 point when Caitlin Clark came, you guys. It's been 1 point. She didn't go up like a whole bunch of points. 19.2, 3.3 assists, 46.8 shooting percentage in the playoffs. She was 19 points average, four assists, and 3 rebounds, you guys. So this is something that this is who Kelsey Mitchell is. And I had to make a post about it yesterday because she was catching so much flack for missing the layup in the game before. But it's like if you actually watch the game, like those last few points the team got to even be within the possibility to make it a tie game was also because of her. Like although we don't like to think of our stars, our favorite players missing, no dropping passes in the end zone or missing that three, that game winning 3-pointer or whatever it is. Like it does happen. Like it happens. Like like you want to think that you never miss a shot. It's like, man, she was wide open. How'd that happen? But it does happen. But if you watch the game, like leading up to it, especially in those last few minutes, she came up clutch. She either scored or she assisted. I didn't think it was right how everybody was ragging on her for that no layup. I mean, Natasha Howard didn't show up in that last game. She had, I think, 11 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist. I'm like, we're fighting for a playoff spot right here. We're on a little bit of a losing streak. This is where everybody has to have all hands on deck, not just Kelsey, not just Sophie. Sophie Cunningham, prior to her being hurt, she's been knocking down her threes. Lexi Hall has been in the shooting slump. She has not, prior like the last 2 games, she kind of started to get her groove again. But Lexi, she'd be out there still doing what she can do in terms of impact, but scoring, like her threes were not landing. She was trying, she wasn't giving up on them, but they were not landing, you guys. So, like I said, you got to get credit where credit is due. Now, I don't know just how bad Sophie's injury is because I haven't seen any actual update on what it was. I'm hoping again like there's nothing serious. But also I want to say something because a lot of people were saying that Bria Hartley ran into her knee on purpose. And honestly, I looked at that clip over and over and over. Somebody sent me a picture of her smiling on TikTok. I'm not even sure if that's a real photo, you guys, because nowadays AI, when we do things, you can make somebody look a different way. So I'm not sure. I actually want to see the footage because how is it we have a photo, we don't have any footage from that angle? That to me doesn't make any sense, especially in the day and age that we live in. I find it quite odd. But nevertheless, I did see that photo of her, smiling. I don't know how real that photo is, so I'm not going to go by it until I actually see a different angle with her smiling. Then I'm like, okay, then I'll say, okay, that was on purpose. But honestly speaking, if you're looking and you're watching the game, like Bria Hartley, she has the ball going up the court, dribbling up the court. She thought she was going for a layup. Kelsey Mitchell, like she kind of jumped in the way, and then Sophie came over to help. It was a lot going on, very, very fast. I don't see where like she clicked her knee but kind of turned her body. Some people were saying online, to kind of ram into Sophie's knee on purpose. Like that's a lot of time, it's very specific time, and on top of it to do that and then to hurt somebody. Was it a foul? Yes, of course, but was it intentional to like take Sophie's knee out and injure her for the rest of the season? I don't think it was that. Now I do know that she has a history as of lately. She is one of those more aggressive, grimy, gritty players. I will say that. I saw, like I said, I posted in my TikTok when she grabbed Angel's hair. She was holding the braids. She got ejected like a game prior in Chicago again. Was her, Rebecca Allen, Ariel Atkins didn't like what she did to Rebecca Allen. Rebecca Allen grabbed her jersey and she was pulling. It was like a little bit of a little scuffle. Nothing too crazy, but Ariel Atkins took exception. She ran over. And we saw what happened. All 3 were ejected in that game. And of course, Connecticut Sun, they went on to win because the Chicago Sky had been just nonstop losing, you guys. We're not going to even go in that direction when it comes to them, okay? But a lot of people were saying, like Kelsey Mitchell. I said I think she's one of them ones, right? Kelsey Mitchell is extremely talented. She's not a point guard, and there shouldn't be a problem where it's like, okay, we can't give Kelsey Mitchell her credit, or we can't give Aaliyah Boston her credit without it being some sort of jab or it being taken offensive in terms of to Caitlin Clark. That should not be. One has nothing to do with the other. There's enough room, excuse me, for everybody to get their credit and their recognition. Right now, Caitlin's not playing, so it's not like how are you going to shout her out right now? She's not playing. Even she said right now the MVP for Indiana is Kelsey Mitchell out of her own mouth because she's there. She's been doing the best that she can. Especially like I said yesterday, she rolled that team back into the game. Was she the only one that contributed? No, but definitely started with her leading the charge. So we can't forget that. And in spite of the Connecticut Suns record, you guys, this team, I don't know what's going on, excuse me, you guys, is not the same team, okay? So we know they already had Tina Charles, Anissa Morrow. She came from LSU, that same LSU tree branch, Angel Reese. Marina McBray has always been there. She was injured for a little bit, but the newest additions, the newer additions, that is, have made a big difference. The rookies have come through big. Sanaya Rivers, she took some time off. She lost her mom, unfortunately, so she wasn't there earlier on in the season. She should have been there, but she wasn't. She recently came back. That girl is a dog. Her three-point shooting is inconsistent, but once it becomes more consistent, you will see. I think her start to grow more. Layla is a great player as well. Aaliyah Edwards, she was drafted last season. If you guys remember, she was, I believe, in Washington, but Washington now is going with the whole Sonia Citron lead, who I think will be Rookie of the Year, by the way. I think she has sealed that deal. But they're going in the whole direction of Sonia Citron, and then, of course, Kiki Irifin. So Leah Edwards kind of got pushed back to the bench. She asked for a trade. She also is now in Connecticut. And then, of course, Bria Hartley, who plays really great defense. So these players, if they would have had this same core, I believe they wouldn't have a six wins and like 28 losses kind of record. If you watch them play outside of Indiana, they have been very, very close in wins since they added these additions, and everybody has come back, and the team has gotten a little bit of chemistry and things going for them. So don't let the record fool you guys. If you watch the game, like, they are not the same team they once were at the beginning. They have definitely made some strides. Every team has made some changes except for Chicago. I'm leave that alone though. All right, you guys, but no, uh the biggest thing that we are talking about right now, that's everybody talking about, is will Indiana make the playoffs? Because they have been hit with a lot of injuries, we all know. And these games they have coming up, they're going to be a bit of a challenge. They have the Lynx not once but twice, and the Feast is not playing right now, but the Lynx are still winning. They have sealed their spot in the playoffs. We all know what happened in the finals last season. A lot of people feel like they should have won. Actually, the calls kind of went, the whistle kind of went in New York Liberty's favor, way in their favor. People didn't necessarily agree with that. But the fact of the matter is that they came really close, and I really feel like they're going to come close again, if not winning the whole thing this season, because they are the best team in the league. And even without Nafisa, for them to still be winning says a lot about who they have, their coaching, and everything. So they have the Lynx back to back. They play them Friday. They have some days off. They don't play again until Friday. They play Lynx Friday, and they play them again on Sunday. Then they play Seattle Storm. And we all know Skylar Diggins, Nneka Ogwumike, like Seattle Storm has, I don't know what happened. They have been on like a losing streak. This team is really, really good. I don't know why they're losing games right now, but the fact is that they are. So they're going to honestly be trying, to make sure that they don't lose anymore, because they're like right there at the bottom now. If they lose too many more games, they're going to have the Valkyries or the Mystics perhaps catch up with them and take that last playoff spot. Because right now they've dropped to the bottom. They're like in eighth place. They have the Storm. Then I said they have the Sparks. The Sparks always seem to have Fever's number. I don't know what it is. With Caitlin, without Caitlin, it just feels like the Sparks, I don't know, they have their number. The Valkyries are a very, very well coached team. Okay. This is the first team, expansion team, Golden State. But for whatever, however you want to look at it, the team, They're good. They are good. So they're gonna give them run for their money. Mercury, we all know. Phoenix Mercury and Indiana. You got Dewana Bond over there now, Alyssa Thomas. We saw what happened last time. It was a very, very aggressive game, So I don't know what's gonna happen, but it will not be an easy win. That is for sure. So that's how many games that's for. Like four, like 6 games that are gonna be, a battle, which it should be because this is professional sports. And then they have the Sky, which they really should win with or without Caitlin, with new players without, because the Sky, they're not trying to win. Then they play the Mystics again, who dominated them last time, and then the Lynx again, So they really have to make sure that they are putting their best foot forward, and really playing team ball. Natasha Howard has been a little bit inconsistent lately to me, but I also feel like that's because they now have new players. Like they're constantly, I will give them credit, they're constantly adding players to this team to make sure they stay in playoff contention. Now they have Odyssey Sims, so she's new, and I think trying to figure out, because when you have new players come in, you don't really have time to like kind of gel and get to learn everybody's, what habits and build that chemistry, but they're doing the best that they can. And when injuries happen, you got to keep going, because right now they can't stop. Playoffs are right around the corner. There's no time to stop and try to figure things out. It is what it is. So I look forward to seeing what happens with this. I don't believe for 1 second. A lot of you guys are like, Indiana's not gonna make it, they're not gonna make it. No Caitlin, no Sylvie, no watch. Let me tell you something. Indiana is absolutely going to make the playoffs. Why? Because this is a business. Caitlin Clark fans are more than 50% of the fans watching WNBA. Whether or not you like Caitlin, you don't like the female, whatever, that's a fact. It is what it is, right? I was gonna be honest with you guys, especially here on my channel. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. That is just a fact. She's a lot of fans that want to see her play. Right now, the hope is from Stephanie White is that at the end of this week, because they have like a week off, is that Caitlin can rejoin this team. Realistically, I don't see it happening. She's not even practicing with the team yet. She's practicing alone. Like running, I saw Stephanie White say, but no contact with the actual team. So she's not even playing with the team. Then how is she going to be back at the end of this week? When they're playing the Lynx, that's not going to happen. And if it does, I mean, you might want to be careful. You don't want to put her out there and she gets even more hurt. That groin, whatever's happening to her groin, you don't want to make it even worse for her. Like you got to be fair to her, and do what's best for her health, number one, and then of course the team, number two. But the fact of the matter is that if they came out and said, you know what, you guys, Caitlin's not going to play the rest of the season. Unfortunately, she's really hurt. She needs more time to heal. Like right then and there, half of the fans are going to tune out. Half of the fans are going to tune out. Ratings are going to go down. Those playoff tickets that they want to people to sell out and buy and come to come to Gamebridge and cheer them on. Like, it's not going to happen. So they're going to be smart about it. They may absolutely know that she's not going to come back, or it's a very, very slim chance of her coming back. They're not going to tell the fans that, because this is a business, and they know, like I said, Caitlin Clark, the revenue, the eyes that she brings. It's just a matter of fact. So they're not going to say it now. I'm hoping that she can come back. I don't want to see her hurt. I want to see, like I always say, I want to see everybody on the court playing. That way you have no excuse when you lose. It's just the better team won. You got to hold your L and then, move forward and come back next season bigger and better. But overall, like I said, business is always going to be first. Indiana will absolutely find a way to be in the playoffs. They may be in dead last, by the time, it's time for playoffs, but they will be there unless you guys mark my words. I've told you here. If you don't believe me, say this video, come back to it. I'm telling you, they will be in the playoffs. All right, you guys. So I look forward to seeing what happens. I probably will be going live for those games as well. So make sure you tune in and we can watch it together here. I'm going to transition, to NFL. If you guys are NFL fans, I'm a sports fan. I love NFL. So we saw earlier today, that Kevin Stefanski announced that Joe Flacco is going to be the starting QB week 1. This is not a surprise. Like, this should not have been a shock if you've been keeping up with the NFL. The fact of the matter is that they know that they can win games with Joe Flacco. They know that he's a proven vet. Even though he's older, he is proven. So they know that they can win some games with him. Right now, the jury's out on Kenny Pickett, which it shouldn't be. We've seen what he is, who he is already. We haven't seen him in a Cleveland Browns uniform. We know pretty much who he is. But the fact of the matter is that they did give away assets. They want to go get him, so they're going to give him a chance to play. You don't make those kind of moves if you don't really feel like that quarterback can fit within your scheme, within your team, and help you guys win. And keep in mind, Joe Flacco is older. That is just a fact, right? Then you have Dylan Gabriel, who made his preseason debut. We spoke about that a few days ago, and I'm hearing a lot of I hear a lot of like divided comments. I'm hearing, you know what? I saw Dan Orlovsky earlier today on Get Up and First Take, and he was saying that he felt like although Shedeur was great as well, but so was Dylan, and he felt like Dylan's tape was better than Shedeur. You know what he put on tape in terms of the accuracy, you know, the efficiency with the throws, and he felt like the interception was more on the receiver than it was on Dylan Gabriel. So look, no matter how you feel, you're going to have people on the side of Dylan, on the side of Shedeur. But I really feel like at this point, I think that the Browns might just end up keeping all the quarterbacks. Like, I really feel like that because you have Joe Flacco, you trust him, he's a proven vet. You went in and traded assets to bring in Kenny Pickett. So you're not going to just get rid of him unless he's like he still can't play right now, he's still hurt. But the fact of the matter is that you went to go get him. So the hope is that you're gonna give him a chance to play, right? So then you have Dylan, you know, still dealing with a little bit of a hamstring. Shedeur still kind of nursing that oblique injury, although he is expected to play in the preseason finale, both him and Dylan, which I really, really want to see them both in the same game because that should be a lot of eyes on that game, right? Just in terms of competition, it's good television, right? Um, but I really feel like at this point, because as a coach, you know, you drafted Dylan before Shedeur. So there's like an ego thing. I feel like you don't want to say, okay, I was wrong. Maybe he was better. We all know the GM is the one who wanted Shedeur because the owner, Jimmy Haslam, decided to come out and let everybody know that nobody else had any interest at all in drafting Shedeur there except for Andrew. I don't know why he wanted to tell us that, but he did. So we all know it now. And you can see if you saw the relationship on the sidelines in that first preseason game, you kind of saw the camaraderie between Shedeur and Andrew, which I liked. So I'm like, at least he has somebody rooting for him. But you know, when you get somebody, when you have Dylan, you know, third round, he's also a trade asset. You know what I mean? Because Colts, you know, Anthony Richardson, who I'm rooting for, he's not healthy more times than not. Daniel Jones is not it. Daniel Jones has looked awful even in the preseason. You know, forget last season with the Giants. He looks awful in this preseason. So, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do there. But when you trade assets, you know, like you don't want to just give up right away. So for Shedeur, I think what he really has to do, one, is stay healthy. That's the first thing. Number two, keep his head down and just keep the main thing the main thing. Do not get caught up with what Dylan tried, said in the media in terms of trying to shade him. You know, entertainers versus competitors. Whether or not he meant it as shade, I don't know. I think maybe just a little bit, but I'll give a bit of a doubt. But he has to stay focused. He has to stay focused because when Shedeur plays, a lot of eyes are going to be on him to see him win and or to see him fail. That's just the reality of it. And when you have an owner who has come out to the public and said, you know what, if you would have told me on Friday night driving home that we were going to draft Shedeur Saturday, I would have been like, absolutely not. Like that wasn't going to happen. So it's like you have a lot going on. I got to give it to Shedeur because you got to stay focused. You know, like to be on a team where you like, man, only one person like wanted me here, like that. I don't know how that. For me, that would be like something that kind of bothers me, but also at the same time motivates me. But that's just who I am. Everybody's different. So for Shedeur, like I just said, he has to keep the main thing the main thing. He has to keep his head down, stay humble, learn, grow. And when his number is called, opportunity comes, he has to show up and absolutely show out like he did before. And hopefully he'll be healthy enough to do it again soon. Because if he can't play, best ability is availability, right? So if Shedeur is unable to play because he's still hurt and Dylan's out there again, then we see Kenny Pickett out there again, then now we're actually moving toward the season because of it's like 2 weeks away now, the first week of September, we're starting with actual NFL season games. So at this point, I think they might just go ahead and keep Shedeur and Dylan and Kenny Pickett. I'm hoping though that they're not going to play Shedeur. Then they let him go. They let him go. I really feel like Indiana could use him right now because they don't have a QB that they can trust. And the way Bryce Young looks more times than not, I'm not sure what's going to happen with him either. And I know that he was number one overall like just a few years ago, but either he's not what everybody thought he was, or it's the coaching and the scheme, and the team that he's on, because he shouldn't look like that at all. I don't know what's happening, you guys. I'm not going to talk you guys to death on here tonight. I want to come up here and share these things with you guys. It was like on my mind, on my heart. I like to talk to you guys, and I want to do something different. I don't want to pre-record. I want to come on here live and talk to you guys live in real time. So like I said, I'll be back on here later on this week. NFL, I'll be on here NFL. I will be on here, you guys. Sunday night games, Monday night. If we have any Friday night games, right now I was at the gym earlier. I saw Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, and I know it's the preseason, but man, they both look really good. No, Jaden is look. I look forward to seeing what the Commanders do this season. They got Debo now. He looked good out there as long as he stays healthy. Hopefully they pay Terry, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. You guys, it's been really really exciting. Jackson Dart to me, and I always say in Russ we trust. If you've been here, I always say in Russ we trust. But I have to be honest, the way they are flowing and vibing with Jackson Dart. I don't know, you guys, because the New York Giants, I think, are going to be a lot better than what people think. But they have a really, really tough schedule, tougher than I think most of the other teams. So a lot of pressure is going to be on Russell to make sure that he plays as good as he possibly can. The fans are excited. You see the way Jackson Dart, is riling the fans up. They're hyped up. New York hasn't been this hype in a while, especially with Daniel Jones there. And then you see him like leading the charge. Like when they're like in the huddle, I was like watching how they were responding to him. He's leading the team. Brian Dable, they said wanted him from way back in January before we even got to the draft. He's been a big fan of his from a while. Been watching when he was in college. They moved up to get him. So he's definitely going to be their franchise QB, I believe. And he's been looking really really good out there. I think out of all the rookies, I think he's been one of the standouts for me what I've seen thus far, even more so than Cam Ward, if I'm being completely honest. But nevertheless, you guys, I'm just thinking in the comments what you think about Indiana in terms of getting to the playoffs. We see them getting there, you see them not getting there. And also, when it comes to the NFL, what do you think guys think about Shedeur? Like, who are your sleeper teams? Who are you looking forward to seeing this season? Who you think is going to ultimately, surprise us? Who's going to be the dark horse of the NFL, so to speak? I know what you guys think. And of course, I will see you in the video very, very soon. Peace out, you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.